Johnathan Lone should be calling in here in just a second.
Awesome. Do we have a caller on the line?
Yes, I am.
Look at there. Look at that.
Oh.
We talked you up earlier, Johnathan. We was talking about the show on Sunday. We was talking about how you were talking to Jake Chris, your opponent, that night in the main event, and how you'd been watching him, I think, since you were 7. And Zane asked me how long I've known you. I think it's been since you were about 2 years old. And it was kind of funny and ironic how the old man opened the show for the young main eventer.
Yeah, it is. I've known Jay Chris forever, man. I've known him from IPW. I used to watch him in the crowd and just always wanted to work him. When I finally did, it was awesome.
Right on. We're joined here, Johnson. We got, of course, the bearded wonder, Zane Paisley, who you're familiar with. And we also have one of the country's foremost trainers in Q-Ball Carmichael, who's a host on the show here with us tonight.
Q, let me talk up Johnathan Lone Wolf to you. I don't know if you've heard him on our past episode. He's been on before. He is a third-generation wrestler. He's setting the Midwest independent wrestling scene on fire. We mentioned before that he's 17. His grandfather is the Dangerous Bull Don Basher, and his father is one of the best guys I know in the business, other than Drew Skills, of course. And yourself included. His father is the chairman, Joey Owens. So great to have you back on, champ. Now, since the last time we've talked with you, you are currently the WCW Tag Team Champion with the last true fighter, Cole Radrick, and you are also the NWA Circle City Wrestling Junior Heavyweight Champion. Any other titles that you're currently holding there, champ?
I'm also holding the FWS Lightweight Champion too, down in Memphis, Indiana.
Very nice. Very nice. So, you just won a big, casket match last Friday at the WCW Outlaw Arena, versus two bad guys, in, the Van Zant's TVZ. Tell our listeners, how you pulled off that feat.
Well, it was a hard battle, let me tell you, because, TVZ, there are some great workers, and they've been tagging for a long time, so they have great charisma, so it was really hard just trying to find ways to throw them off. And so we gave it our all. We fought up and down that building, and then they slipped up by letting us get our breath long enough to fight off their backs and give them the spill into the casket.
Wow. All right. Q, what do you have for young Lone Wolf, Johnathan Lone Wolf?
Johnathan, let me ask you a question. When was the single moment that you knew you were going to be a professional wrestler?
It would have to be when I had to do a spot for IPW when I was 7 years old.
Wow.
My dad was in the corner and PT Hustler was about to hit him with the chair, and I slid in and I low blowed him, and hearing the crowd react to it is what made me what I am today.
Wow. That's a turning point moment, is it not, Drew Skills?
It definitely is. He's been around the business. His dad's been in for over 20 years now. His dad started when he was younger than Johnathan is. I think he was 15, wasn't he, Johnathan, when he started?
Yeah, he was 15.
Yeah, it's 15 years. So he's been around for 20 years. This kid, Johnathan Owens, he's been around since he could crawl, man. And if I can get him in the gym and stop chasing these girls around and put some weight on, man, this guy really has a shot. Like I said, he's been around forever. He's starting to listen really well. His matches are getting better and better. Obviously we can always find things to fine tune and get better in every match. But his matches continue to get better. And this kid really has, the sky's the limit for this kid.
Johnathan, let me ask you a question. Can you talk a little bit about your training in the business of pro wrestling? And I know you're third generation, but talk a little bit about that for us, if you would.
Well, my trainings are, I train Sunday and Wednesday because I pick those days because Wednesday's in the middle and Sunday's at the beginning, so it gives me breaks. It gives me a day break between everything. Because I usually, Sundays is when I start training again, Monday's my break, Tuesday's a break, and then Wednesday I go back at it, and then Thursday's the break, and then Friday is the show times, Fridays and Saturday show times. So I do that. So on Sundays, I mostly work on trying to make my moves smoother, like try to make them look better for the not so sloppy.
Right.
And Wednesdays, I mostly just run the ropes to help my cardio because I'd rather have, because ring cardio is way different than just running around the block like for miles.
Amen, brother. You know, and Johnathan, I think that's one thing people don't realize. You know, I've had professional athletes that played pro football and come from all walks of life and come into pro wrestling and think, oh, I'm in shape, I can do this. But once you run in-ring cardio, it really separates the contenders from the pretenders, does it not?
Yeah, that's no lie. Like, it's way different than running like 3 miles and you step in that little square. It's so much more harder.
Beautiful. You know what? And it's hard to get that across to people. But, you know, when you're actually training to be a pro wrestler, it's so different than anything else you've ever done. You have the adrenaline, you know, you have the rush, you have getting in there and going to town. And the bigger the show, the more the adrenaline, the more the rush is. And I don't think people understand that. You know, it's not as simple as having a match in a training school with somebody. Once you get in front of people, it is a whole different world, is it not?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely a whole different world. Like, when you're in training, it's okay for you to mess up because you can just keep going with the flow. But in a match, like an actual match, people, like you hear the crowd, you have like so much other things on your mind. And like, if you mess up there, they're going to see it. And you can't go back.
Amen, brother. Listen, Drew Skills, I know you know him a little better than me. Ask him a few questions if you would.
Sure. Johnathan, tell us what it was like, last show, Sunday and then on the October show, getting to main event for the first time in front of, I remember the first time I got to main event in front of a huge crowd. What was it like for you at your age getting to main event in front of 2 sellout crowds?
Well, for me, it felt like an honor because out of everybody in that locker room, that promoter trusted me to end the show and give everybody something to talk about. And when I walked out, I really couldn't do nothing but smile the whole time because it was such a big moment. Like, it's one of the greatest feelings I've ever felt. Like, there's really nothing to feel, but I can only hear the crowd yelling my name. That's all I can remember. What could you equate that to? Like we talked about, you've been growing up in the business. As far as watching from the standpoint of being, you know, watching the show and enjoying the show to now that type of a moment. What, as far as seeing it to now living it, what would you equate it to? From seeing it to living it. Man, I can say it was nothing like I thought it would be. Like, I thought being a main event on a big show it was a good feeling, but it wasn't like the greatest feeling in the world. Because as you're watching it, you're like, oh, these guys probably main event all the time against crowds like this size. But when you're actually the guy that's main eventing for that show, oh, there's nowhere to compare it. You can't.
Exactly. Tell us some of your goals. What are your goals? What do you want to accomplish in the next 5 years?
What I like to accomplish in the next 5 years is I would like to do a lot of traveling around the U.S. and then hopefully go to Japan and wrestle in Japan for a little bit, and then hopefully end it off maybe getting a contract with WWE.
Hey, Johnathan. Go ahead, Drew.
No, go ahead, Zane.
I was just going to ask Johnathan to tell us a little about his tag team partner, Cole Radrick, in Bulletproof.
Well, Cole, I was on a couple of shows where he was just doing He was just doing ring gear. And then he had his first match, I think, in May of this year. And then I started watching him work. And then finally we met up at some shows. When we started talking and we found out that our styles are the same. Like, he likes to throw a lot of kicks and I throw a lot of kicks. And we're very aerial. So we went to this one company and they wanted us to tag. Well, when they tagged us up, everybody said we had really great charisma together. We flowed really well together. And then from there, we just kind of took off and we came up with the name Bulletproof.
And are you help training him, or are you hands off on that?
I'm kind of hands off on that, but when we do work, like, I'm always there to help him get better. Like, sometimes he comes up and trains with me, and we just train together. But rather than that, yeah, I don't handle that.
Have you made a character of yourself for WWE 2K16 yet?
Yeah, I have.
Q, what's funny about it is his dad hit me up. What day was it? I guess it would have been yesterday. My days kind of run together, but his dad hit me up yesterday and told me how he sold nearly, wasn't it like $20 short of $300, like $280 worth of merch, and all he wanted to do was go and run and get the WWE 2K16.
I'm still a kid. I'm still a kid on the inside, you know. Still got to get the stuff.
Rock on, brother. That's all I can say. Rock on.
All right, Johnathan, what do you have coming up this week? I know you've got WCWO on Friday night at the Outlaw Arena, 1151 South Kentucky Avenue, Indianapolis, Indiana. And then you've got NWA Circle City Wrestling, big show on Thanksgiving night, November 26th, with, of course, Drew Skills and Kevin Thorne, Rob Conway, Road Warrior Animal. China's supposed to be there. Of course, the chairman, Joey Owens. What else you got coming up?
I got ICW in Marion, Indiana on the 7th. And then on the 21st, I have New Era Wrestling in Shelbyville.
Oh, that's a big benefit. Is that a big benefit show that day?
Yes, I think that's the show.
Yeah, I think the proceeds of that go to the building that you guys work at. Is that a boys and girls club?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How can our listeners follow your career? Social media.
You can follow. I have a Facebook. It is Johnathan Wolf. You can look me up in there and add me on there, and I'm always available on that. Like, if you need to reach me out, just go straight to that, and I'll get back to you right away.
And is that a good place to go to try to book you for shows?
Oh, yes. It is a perfect place to go.
The even better place to go would be Johnathan Owens, or Joey Owens, his dad, to book him for shows would be a better option to go to.
How do you like working shows with your dad?
I actually like it a lot because, like, especially when we go to new places, if I don't know no one, I can always have somebody to talk to. I don't feel just like left out and zoned by myself.
That must be cool. That must be cool. Great.
Well, I want to tell you, Johnathan. I want to tell you, buddy, thanks for jumping on the call here and coming in and talking with us. Like I said, I've known you since before you really even knew who you were. So it's great to get to see you grow up, man. And I know I rib you a lot, but you're doing good things. And keep your head on right and keep moving forward, buddy.
Amen, bro.
Thank you, man. It means a lot.
Now get off the phone, kid.
That's awesome. Get off the phone, kid.
Thanks for calling here, buddy.
You know, it's funny. I had training tonight at my school from 6 to 8, and then I come home and I have an hour break after this show. And one of the boards broke, and so I had one guy in training tonight. That's it. The only one that showed up. The other ones were working late. And so we tore the ring down and put it back together and fixed it. And you know, that's the business in a nutshell, isn't it? If you're too good to tear down a ring and put it back up, you shouldn't be in a business.
Right. For sure.
Another great night. on the Undisputed Wrestling Show at AngryMarks.com. Cashing checks and snapping necks. The bearded wonder, Zane Paisley, along with the Thriller, the Manila, Drew Skills, and Cue Ball Carmichael. What's next on our agenda, Mr. Zane?
Well, next week we've got a huge show. We've got women's superstar Paloma Starr. And the former WWE, TNA, and the final ECW World Heavyweight Champion, the last true ECW World Heavyweight Champion, current NXT superstar Rhino will be on the show. Drew's probably got a lot to talk to him about.
we got plenty to talk about. What's that, Q?
A lot of unresolved issues.
No, it's resolved.
Yeah,
it was resolved in the middle. It was resolved in the middle with a 1, 2, 3.
I love
it. He's had a great career, man. I first heard about Rhino when I would go up to Detroit, early 2000s, 2001, maybe even 2002. I don't remember exactly when I first headed up there, but going up there and working for A.T. Huck, who was a referee at ECW, who was running shows, working for Malcolm Monroe Jr., who's the son of Sweet Daddy Malcolm Monroe, and those guys, man, they spent a lot of time in that area. Rhino, Christian Edge. So I got to hear a lot about those guys from when they were on the indies to when, they made big names for themselves. So, Rhino's had a great career. I'm looking forward to talking to him next week. And it's always great talking to you guys, man. It's always Tuesday nights, man. I love it. It's my favorite part of the week, other than actually getting to snap necks and cash checks. This is the next best thing.